Because if you sit down and really look at the Amazing World of Gumball, one thing becomes uncomfortably clear.
It took me 10 years to realize the Amazing World of Gumball characters. ADHD, autism, anxiety, Down syndrome, bipolar disorder.
What if Gumball isn't the hero we thought he was? What if he's actually the villain?
No more, Mr. Nice Guy. I found it with claws and pointed teeth and a venomous...
Now I know that sounds dramatic. Gumball is the goofy, lovable troublemaker of Elmore, right? But stick with me. Today, we're going to dig through Gumball's darkest moments. Not just the jokes gone too far or the classic cartoon chaos, but the pattern of behavior that, if we saw it in real life, would set off every red flag.
Goodbye, goody-two-shoes. I'm no longer... I'll be brutal and blunt. It will hurt.
Let's start at the root of it all. Manipulation.
Because now I'm a shark and I'm ready. And I'll say what I want. And a truth.
You might not think of Gumball as manipulative. He's a kid after all. But if you really look at the way he treats the people around him, especially his family and best friend Darwin, you'll start to notice something. Gumball knows how to control a situation.
Say hello to my little friend, Darwin.
Gumball, distracted! Okay, your turn, go!
I hereby state that
Yes.
Like in the episode The Plan, Gumball and Darwin want to avoid going to a family dinner, so instead of just saying no, Gumball orchestrates an entire secret strategy, like a cartoon heist film, manipulating each family member one by one. He plays on their weaknesses, misleads them, even turns them against each other, and somehow, we all laugh along with it.
Why are you dressed as a panda? It's history. Issues was last week.
Exactly. I'm dressed as last week. Anyway, surely pandas are history by now.
Then there's the G. Remember that one? It's the episode where Gumball fakes a complete emotional breakdown, crying, sobbing, shaking, just to get out of doing PE. He lies so convincingly that Darwin ends up carrying him in his arms to the school nurse. He's basically weaponizing sympathy, and it works. But the worst one? The job. That's the episode where Gumball tricks his dad Richard into thinking he's on the verge of death just to get him to apply for a job. Let that sink in. Gumball literally fakes a fatal diagnosis to emotionally manipulate his own father, someone who clearly isn't the brightest bulb in the box, into doing what he wants.
Hey, Dad. Maybe we should just go outside again. Good job, Dad. You totally got us. We're sorry we pranked you.
And once again, it's played off as a joke. But if you strip away the colors and cartoon logic, that's dark. None of these moments by themselves prove he's a villain, but they start painting a picture. One where Gumball isn't just getting into mischief. He's calculating outcomes, adjusting people's emotions, and pulling strings to serve his own goals. In short, he's not just a trickster.
You just forgot, didn't you?
Yep.
Hurts! I think
He's a manipulator.
and sprained an ear or something. I probably need some very expensive medical help.
And it doesn't stop there.
You did good, kid. You did wait. Did you just say a cake?
I'll show them. I'm the master manipulator.
Tell me whenever you're...
Let's move on to something that's a little harder to excuse. The way Gumball treats people, not because he wants something, but because he thinks it's funny.
Wanna hug it out?
As long as there's no kissing. Oh, parents, are they still mad at me?
Not after they get the cake you... Mm-hmm. The one with sorry spelled out in sparklers?
Buddy.
In the triangle, Gumball kisses Penny's best friend, Leslie, not because he likes her, but because he wants to test Penny's loyalty. Think about that. He cheats on his girlfriend with her best friend just to see what happens. It's sociopathic curiosity disguised as a prank. In the Copycats, Gumball meets an alternate version of himself, a bootleg Chinese ripoff. Most people would be confused, maybe amused. Gumball? He goes on a psychological campaign to destroy their spirits, humiliate them, and break their will to perform. Why? Because they had the audacity to copy him. The whole thing ends with him mocking them on a public stage, forcing them to realize how pathetic they are. And in the gripes, Gumball literally starts a mob of angry townspeople over minor inconveniences, all because he was annoyed that things didn't go his way that day. By the end, he's turned the town into an angry riot, just for a bit of petty satisfaction. Now, you could argue, hey, it's a cartoon. That's just cartoon logic. And yes, cartoon characters often do ridiculous, exaggerated things. But Gumball knows what he's doing. He's not clueless, he's not naive. He's self-aware, often breaking the fourth wall to comment on his own actions. That means when he's cruel, he's in on the joke. He chooses to go too far. And if a character consistently makes others suffer for their own entertainment, isn't that kind of the definition of a villain? If you've ever side-eyed one of Gumball's pranks and thought, wait, was that kind of evil? You're not alone. Drop your favorite unhinged Gumball moment in the comments, and let's see just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Well, I think we found something even more infinite than the universe.
Your eternal love.
Two things. Your ability to emotionally manipulate my stupidity.
It's not.
Gumball being a manipulator or even emotionally reckless is one thing, but there are moments, and not just one or two, where he goes way beyond innocent cartoon mischief. Moments where his actions spiral out of control and cause serious, even existential consequences. Take The Disaster, for example. In this episode, Gumball gets so frustrated with how things are going in his life that he wishes everything would just reset. And in true Gumball fashion, it does. He literally rewinds time and replays events so he can get what he wants. At first, it's played for laughs. But think about it. Gumball essentially destroys the universe just so he can manipulate reality into giving him a better outcome. And when things don't immediately go his way again, he doubles down, breaking the timeline repeatedly until he's satisfied. That's not a prank. That's godlike control used recklessly. He doesn't just break rules, he breaks reality itself. And this isn't an isolated case. In the refund, Gumball and Darwin demand their money back for a terrible video game. When the clerk says no, instead of shrugging it off like a normal kid, Gumball launches a full-scale war. There's destruction, fire, chaos, all over $5.
Meyer, mark my words! We will!
This is not to be invoked in vain in this house.
By the end of the episode, the entire mall is in ruins. People are injured, property is destroyed, and the only thing Gumball learned is that he was right all along.
You don't understand. You can't take money out of the registry.
It's not just funny anymore, it's destructive, and he knows it. You can see it in the way he pushes further every time someone says no, like he gets energy from conflict.
What's going on?
Then there's the night, a weird one for sure. The whole episode happens in the subconscious dreams of each character, but when we dive into Gumball's dream, it's surprisingly disturbing. In his own subconscious, he sees himself as someone who causes harm. There's guilt, there's chaos. His inner world is not filled with joy or silliness. It's full of damage, fear, and regret. And that's huge, because it means, deep down, even Gumball knows there's something off about how he behaves. The show doesn't always let him admit it out loud, but in moments like this, in dreams, breakdowns, or alternate realities, the truth creeps in. One of the scariest things about Gumball's personality isn't what he does, it's that he rarely thinks he's wrong. He has this unshakable belief that he's the smartest person in the room, and that whatever chaos he causes is somehow justified.
Control operator, commencing digital scan process.
In The Authority, he goes toe-to-toe with his teacher, Miss Simeon. Not because he has a point, but because he wants to win. He twists her words, challenges her in front of the class, and turns a basic lesson into an ego war.
This diagram reveals everything you need to know. What? This area is what? Composed of hot gases. Never look at it directly with your...
Even when he realizes he's wrong, he refuses to back down. He'd rather take the whole class down with him than admit defeat.
You think this is funny?
I think you owe them an apology.
These kids tried to make a...
Then in the egg, he nearly ruins Anais's chances of getting into a prestigious school just because he doesn't like being told what to do. He spends the entire episode sabotaging her future, not even out of spite, but out of ego.
Oh man, isn't there anything dangerous?
Gumball, use the stale crinkle.
It's always about him, his feelings, his pride, his belief that the world should adjust to his view, never the other way around. And honestly, that kind of self-absorption is textbook narcissism, the scary kind. The kind that doesn't wear a cape or twirl a mustache, but quietly, subtly poisons every relationship it touches. But here's where things get complicated, because while Gumball's behavior can be selfish, cruel, and destructive, it's also important to ask, is he really the problem, or is he just a product of his environment?
Check your privilege!
Elmore is weird. Everyone in the town is dysfunctional in their own way. The parents are irresponsible. The teachers are unstable. The neighbors are either oblivious or emotionally volatile. It's a world where normal rules don't apply, where absurdity is the status quo.
Mrs. Mom was right. We really didn't need...
In the society, we see how peer pressure and groupthink rule over individual decisions. In the puppets, Darwin is literally possessed by a pair of demonic hand puppets. In the world, reality bends around the idea of social media, likes, being more powerful than common sense.
I'm sorry. We ditched you guys the Christmas we got our first game console.
We still love you.
And you'll never put us back...
So, is it really surprising that Gumball turned out like this? You could argue he's not the disease. He's a symptom, a reflection of the absurdity around him. Where other people might resist or adapt, Gumball thrives in the madness. He adapts to every situation by becoming more unhinged than everyone else. He's learned that manipulation works, that destruction has no lasting consequences, that you can reset anything with a punchline. And maybe that's the scariest part. He didn't become this way despite Elmore. He became this way because of it. In most stories, the thing that separates a flawed character from a true villain is the ability to change, to grow, to learn from mistakes, to choose better next time. But with Gumball, that's complicated, because on the surface, there are moments of growth. Episodes where he seems to reflect on his actions, where he apologizes, learns a lesson, or even sacrifices something for others. In The Shell, for example, he lets Penny come out of her literal shell, both emotionally and physically, and it's one of the most sincere, heartfelt moments in the entire series. He tells her she's beautiful, even when her form changes completely, and you can tell it's real.
Penny, your shell is part of your heritage. It comes from your ancestors.
Logic. The ancestors before those ancestors were primates.
Then there's The Choices, an episode that looks back on Nicole's life and the different paths it could have taken. Gumball plays a surprisingly thoughtful role in that story. It reminds us that he is, at the end of the day, part of a family that's just trying to get by. There's a softness there, a sense that Gumball could grow into someone better.
It's important to move every 3 hours or so, otherwise the rat gets too bold, thinks he's crooked. Not today, buddy.
But the real question is, does he? Because for every moment like that, there's another where the reset button gets hit. No consequences, no memory of what happened last time, and no real change in how Gumball behaves. It's like he's stuck in a loop, doomed to keep repeating the same harmful patterns over and over again. That's not growth, that's survival. And survival in a cartoon world like Elmore means being the loudest, the wildest, the most unpredictable character in the room. And Gumball, he's a master at that. It's not that Gumball can't be kind. It's just that when kindness doesn't get him what he wants, he's more than happy to abandon it.
Dude, this is so messed up!
I know, right?
He adapts based on results, not morality. And that's a dangerous mindset, because it means even the good he does is often transactional. Think about that for a second. If someone only does the right thing when it benefits them, is that really goodness? Or is it just strategy? So where does that leave us? Is Gumball Watterson actually a villain? Let's look at the evidence. He manipulates people around him constantly, emotionally, socially, even psychologically. He's caused real damage to property, to people, to reality itself, with little remorse. He rarely reflects on his actions unless forced to. He believes he's always right, even when the evidence says otherwise. And worst of all, when he does show growth, it rarely sticks. By traditional storytelling standards, that sounds a lot like a textbook villain. Not the kind with a tragic backstory and a redemption arc, but the kind that thrives in chaos and knows just how far to push without getting caught. But here's the twist. He's not evil. He's not scheming to take over the world. He's not trying to hurt people for fun. He's just a kid. A kid who grew up in a world that rewards absurdity over honesty and chaos over kindness. A kid who figured out that being clever, manipulative, and shameless was the only way to survive. In that sense, Gumball isn't the villain of Elmore. He's the product of it. He's what happens when someone learns every rule of the system and decides to break them, bend them, and twist them into something that always works in his favor. He's not the Joker. He's not Darth Vader. He's something more relatable, and maybe more dangerous because of it. He's the kind of character who looks you in the eye, cracks a joke, and then walks away while everything burns behind him. And the craziest part, we still love him. Because whether he's wrecking a classroom, cheating reality, or emotionally blackmailing his best friend, we see parts of ourselves in Gumball. The petty moments, the bad decisions, the moments we wish we could rewind and do over. Not because it's the right thing to do, but because we want to win. That's what makes Gumball so compelling. He's not the hero, he's not the villain. He's us, at our worst, our weirdest, and sometimes our most honest. So maybe the better question isn't, is Gumball a villain? Maybe it's, what does it say about us that we've rooted for him this whole time? So, villain, victim, or just dangerously relatable? Whatever side you land on, one thing's clear. Gumball is way more complicated than he lets on. Smash that like button if he's ever made you laugh and question your morals at the same time. And subscribe for more deep dives into the most chaotic characters in TV.